welcome to another tutorial. This time I'm going to be doing ad rotation. Now if you have a website already and you'd like to rotate some ads and have them clickable to the specific company that you're advertising, or business, or anything really that you're advertising, then this is a good script. It's very basic, however, and it doesn't do much for telling how many times it has been clicked, for example, but I will be doing an advanced ad rotation tutorial quite soon. If not, it will already be up. Okay, so to prep for this, I have created two files, ad rotation and ad go. Ad rotation is the part that the advert will be included in. Obviously I have a blank file, and ad go is the file that the addresses next to the files will be stored. By files I mean the ads that I've created. I've created 5 adverts. Advert 1 looks like that, advert 2 looks like that, through to advert 5, which looks like that. So they're all pretty much similar, just with the numbers on, so we can tell which ones are which. Okay, now the fundamental of this is opening up our directory and putting each file into a separate element of an array, ready to randomly select to be shown. So to open our directory, we need to use this function called open_dir. And we're going to be opening, like I've just shown you, the ads directory. Okay, now that is, let me just comment as I go through. Okay, so I know what I'm doing. Now I want to get each file, and I need to exclude some stuff, which you'll see in a minute. So I'm going to create a while loop, and that is going to contain an if statement in here. Right, okay, my while thing, I'm going to create a new variable called file, and that is going to be equal to reading a directory, so reading the contents of a directory of our directory that we've just opened here. Okay, so you've got to open a directory before you read from it. Okay, and inside our loop, I'm going to say, let's just say, for example, echo out file. Okay, so let's see what happens when we do this. Let's go back a directory and add rotation. Okay, so we've got a bit of a jumble here, and we've got a couple of dots on here, which at the moment we, well, I know, but you might not know what they are. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say concatenate a break onto the end of this, just so we can see it a bit more easily, and I'll refresh, and we can see here that we've got a single dot, a double dot, and we've got each file that's in that directory. Now these are just standard notation for directories. This means 2 directories back, and I think this means the current directory, or 1 directory back. Either way, we don't need them, and we're going to need to remove them somehow. So basically what we need to do is create an if statement, just to say if the file, isn't equal to a dot, and it's also not equal to 2 dots, then we can proceed with echoing. You'll see that if I put an else here in a minute, we'll actually echo out the dots as well, but you can see that's removed them. Like I said, if I say else echo file, then you'll see that that's going to put them 3 dots, or 2 dots and 1 dot back in. Okay, so basically we're removing them dots. Okay, now what I want to do is create a temporary array, and this isn't array, maybe I should call it string array actually. I'm going to create a string array. Now if you haven't heard of the explode function, I'm going to be using this in a minute to convert this string array. It's not really an array, it's how I'm going to create it. We're going to convert that into an actual array. So here we're going to say string array is equal to a file, and we're going to concatenate a space onto the end of it. Going to concatenate a space onto the end of it. So if I was to say echo this out, we would get this. So we've got a space in between each file that we're dealing with. Okay, so what we actually want is we want to build this up, this string array. Now it's fine we're echoing it at the moment, we're echoing out from a while statement, so it's repeating, but what we need to do is store every single file inside this with a space concatenated. So all we need to do is say string array, and that will concatenate a file onto that and concatenate onto it again. So by the time we exit our loop, we can echo out string array, and we should get the same result. If we didn't do this concatenation here, you can see if we cut that out and run it again, we'll only get the last result. That's because as this goes through, the last result from this while statement will be stored in this only. What we need to do is keep this in to keep adding onto our initial array, or rather string array. Okay, so now we need to convert string array in inverted commas, because it's not a real array, to real array. And we're going to do this using the explode function. So I'm going to say create a new variable called file array and use explode. Now to separate, we've used a space. So our initial parameter will be a space. That's the pattern repeating for the space that we've used between each element that we're going to add to the array. So this will be taken from string array, which we've created, if you can follow that. And what we can do now is we can start testing this and start echoing out every element of the array. Now what I could do is say just echo out file array 0. Now hopefully you know what's going to come up. That will be add 1, and file array 1 will be add 2, file array 3, or 2 rather, will be add 3, and so on. 4 would be 5. Okay, so if we say echo file array 6, that's not inside the array, so there'll be nothing. Our maximum at the moment is 4. Okay, so we've tested now that it's been put into our array properly, and we need a count for the amount of elements in the array. Now to do this, this is a new function called count, and I'm just going to say file array. Now if I echo this out, we'll see that there are exactly 6. Now you're probably wondering why this is. Now the reason is because what we need, well, this is the reason. When we exploded it by using our space, we have a space ending for here, so anything after that may have been stored. The other reason is when counting, we're also including the 5 elements and the naught. Now if you can think about this, by subtracting 1, we're literally taking that down to 5. So the count of the array now is 5. If we did have another file in here, this would go up to 7, but then it would go down to 6, and it would be more realistic to the amount of files we actually have. So if you didn't understand that, it's quite tricky. I'm only just getting to grips with this, coming from this explode myself, so do correct me if I'm wrong. Now that's the end of that part of the tutorial. The next part, what I'm going to be doing is creating some random numbers, and I'm going to be using some HTML code to show the advert to the user in a random pattern. And then what we're going to be doing is linking that to this adgo.php file, where we can forward the user to the ad relevant on which one they've clicked. Okay, I'll see you in the next part. Thanks for watching.